Tuesday, December 14, 2021. This is Rick with the Mercedes Diesel Guy channel, and this is my 2005 Toyota Sienna. Apologies, and I mean huge apologies to anybody who is following along with this video series, but it's done, or at least it's drivable, it is on the road now. And I'll get into why in just a moment. I'm going to try to make this a really quick video. Give me a second, I'm going to pop the hood, and I'm just going to run you through a couple of gotchas I ran into with all the work under the hood. Okay, so like I said, it is the vast majority of the way done, but not 100%. So the whole timing belt and all the under the hood work took a long time, and that's not even counting life. Now, with the timing belt here, I'm not sure if I actually have any video clips of that. I think I did take some, but when I got the timing covers off, I saw the timing belt was the worst I've ever seen with my own eyes. It was cracked, it was horrible, it was hanging by a thread, and it was not going to last much longer. From what I understand, this is an interference engine, so I'm really glad I caught that. I don't think the timing belt had been done in a very long time. It may have been original to the vehicle, and at 217,000 miles, they pushed it way past the point they should have. I have reason to believe it was original. I mean, the water pump I took out of there was original factory Toyota, so rather than an aftermarket part. So you can see here I've got this labeled with date, mileage, and mileage at which it's next due, which I believe is 90,000. And I've put about 50 miles on it so far. I got it, it's Tuesday, I got the van together on Friday. And just a couple of quick gotchas. I've seen a bunch of videos where people don't bother taking out the wiper cowl, and I guess you could do the job leaving the wiper cowl in. It doesn't interfere too badly back here. However, you'll get more light in here, and honestly, taking out the wipers and the wiper cowl, it's minutes worth of work. I mean, it's a big piece, but it is not a lot of labor to take it out. So unless you are desperate to save every minute there, I recommend taking it out. Plus, I think, dealing with less clearance, it's going to take you more time to do all the rest of the work. So I recommend taking it out. What else? This two-piece bracket here, these are brand new parts. Now, I ran into what's apparently a common problem. So this bolt and that one down there, they get corroded and seize in there, and that's a fairly common problem that I've learned. And I tried everything I could to get them out. I was able to get the front bolt out. I did strip the fitting down there a little bit, but the rear bolt just snapped on me, and in the end, to get the old bracket out, what I had to resort to was cutting the bracket up into little pieces, using a variety of cutting tools, including a reciprocating saw, and it was real nail-biting work, because I didn't want to nick the power steering lines, didn't want to nick the AC lines here. There's really not a lot of room, and there's pretty much no margin of error, but I was eventually able to get that out. That took forever. And once I had that bracket out, doing the rest of the timing belt job really was not a huge deal. Now, the one quirk I've seen on this, as opposed to my Volvo, and I'm comparing this to the Volvo because it's a similar dual overhead cam setup, and it's an interference engine. Now, once you've lined up according to the factory instructions, once you've lined up the timing marks, you have to back it off 60 degrees counterclockwise, and then you take the timing belt off. And then once it's off and you've replaced the water pump, then you rotate the crank and the cams 60 degrees forward individually, all back to their marks. And that worked, and I got it back together, and eventually when I did start it up for the first time, it was all perfect. So, yeah, so I ended up having to replace this two-piece bracket here because I ended up ruining both parts. And I'll show you the carnage in a moment. I did put a new mount up here because the center of the old mount was starting to crack, and I figured, you know, while I had the part, may as well put a new one in. What else did I do here? I've got new upper and lower rad hoses, just because they're cheap enough, and I was able to put them in here while I had everything out. New AC and alternator belt, new power steering belt, new cooling system cap. As you saw in a previous video, I did put in an aftermarket coolant overflow tank, because originally I did think this old one was leaking. Now I'm really not certain about that. But the advantage of the new one here is that the plastic hasn't yellowed, and I can see the coolant level. Let's see what else. I did put a new battery in, new air filter, and spark plugs. Now, to get to the spark plugs, you have to take off this engine cover here, and you actually have to take out the top of the intake manifold. And once again, that's the only really difficult part of that, is that there are 3 bolts on the back of the intake manifold holding it to 3 upright brackets. And those are hard to reach. In fact, I do believe the spark plugs were changed at some point in the vehicle's life, because 2 of the bolts were missing on me. Now, instead of putting it back in with 3, I actually put it back in with 2, 1 on each end, because the one in the middle was just extremely difficult to reach, and you're not going to be able to do the spark plugs without that wiper cowl out. One pitfall I ran into is because I'm working outdoors here. I had the top of the intake manifold off for a couple of days, and then it rained, and then when I went to put everything back together, I thought I'd covered it up well enough, but apparently I hadn't. The lower part of the intake manifold was a swimming pool, so I had to get in here and suck all the water out. I used a turkey baster to do it, and once again, when I did start it up, ran fine. No engine damage, thankfully. So, all in all, I am happy with this. Been driving it around since Friday. And let me just show you quickly the carnage of that old bracket. So everything's here in this box. Here's the lower portion of the bracket. I stripped out that hole a bit. You can see this this other bolt here is absolutely trashed. And the remainder of the bracket is in a bunch of pieces. And I've also got the old mount piece here, and timing roller, and the old thermostat. Oh yeah, I did the thermostat while I was in there. Also kind of a bear on this vehicle, because to get to the thermostat you have to get the battery out and the whole air box. I mean, the thermostat is buried down there. Very odd setup. So, very quickly, just to finish this out, why didn't I film more? Why was there such a fire under me? There were a couple of factors going on. First off, I actually got really sick this fall. I just kept getting rained on. So there were days there were a lot of weekends I just could not get out here and turn wrenches. And I couldn't extend the project because we're moving again. Those of you who have followed my channel know that I moved originally from Massachusetts to Montreal, and I was there for 2 years, and then we moved back to the States in July of this year, and we've been here since the 1st of July, but our intent once we got here from day one was to buy our own place, and we've been renting here, and we really do like this place, but a really nice place popped up just a couple of blocks from here, and we bought it. And we're going to be moving in starting later this week. So I'm excited about that. Once again, I don't have a garage there, but I do have a carport, and it's completely enclosed on 2 sides, and it really should work. In addition to the carport, There's actually several tool sheds, one big enough that I'd call it a workshop on the property. I certainly can't get a car in there, no question, but it'll be tool storage, and so I'm excited about this. So, but basically I had a fire under me to get the Toyota running so I could drive it around and you know, not abandon it here in the driveway at the rental house. So so it's been on the road since Friday, been very happy with it, and also fortuitously, now that I have it running, we're back to 2 cars because the Vanagon over here has sprung a hydraulic fluid leak. A week ago I realized I had to, or sometime within the last 2 weeks, I realized I had to add some brake fluid, and I wasn't sure exactly why, but I figured I'd keep an eye on it, and that happened again yesterday. So I took a quick look at it today and realized that there was a leak in the clutch hydraulics. So, and that's at the clutch slave cylinder. So I'm going to go ahead and replace that, and really not be driving this much until then. So really that's where things are. Hopefully once I've landed and dust has settled on the move, I can get back to doing more videos. So this is Mercedes Diesel Guy. Thanks for watching.